Nانسي عجرم. I mean, I loved Nانسي.
Really?
Yeah. But actually, it was Yusuf Nabil that introduced me to Náncy Agram. He said, you've got to listen to her and you've got to see her on the video because she looks, to me, she reminds me of you.
ساكن قلبي ساكن عقلي ساكن القلواي
Top of the morning, innit?
أنت عندك accent. أنت عندك مواهب. Yes. Yes, we're in London. Yeah, we are in London. هذه الحلقة يعني special جدا لأنه أول مرة لقاء في بودكاست بالإنجليزي مع فنانة غنت لغات كثيرة منها العربي، بس يعني مش مرتاحة إنها تتكلم long conversations أو محادثات طويلة بالعربي قد ما هي بالإنجليزي، لأنه هي أساساً أصول إنجليزية مصرية، بس يعني عاشت حياتها في أول شيء بلجيكا وبعدين في إنجلترا. أول CD عرفت أو أول CD سمعت لها أو لما اكتشفتها كان ب2006. كان بالنسبة لي يعني shocking، شيء ملفت جدا إنه أشوف CD الفنانة لابسة برقع. عارف البرقع إيش تسمونه بمصر؟ نقاب. أنا حكيت باللقاء نتاشا قصتي مع شلون اكتشفتها وشلون مسيرتها. فيها قصص كثيرة، فيها نجاحات مينستريم، أحيانا لا تروح تغني تعمل ألبوم جاز، لا الحين أنا حاعمل ألبوم إلكترونيكا. أنا مش أنا ما أبي مينستريم أصلا، أنا أبي أكون أكثر مركزة على فني. أنا عاوز أشتغل مع independent فنانين مستقلين. وخلال الحلقة يعني تكلمت كثير عن فنانين التقتهم في مسيرتها collaborations. أنا هالشيء ما أشوفه كثير بالمينستريم عربيا، إنه فنان كذا على مزاجه وهو يكتب، هي تكتب وتلحن يعني أتوقع هايلايت بمسيرتها كان موضوع الميلينيوم، حفلة الميلينيوم في 2000. غنت عند الهرم مع جان ميشيل جار اللي هو فنان فرنسي، بروديوسر وفنان. يعني قالت لي قصص حلوة عن الناس هذول اللي التقتهم. سوت شو الكريستيان لوبيتان اللي هو يحب نتاشا، يحب فن نتاشا، مع انه يعني he's international designer. تكلمنا عن مصور يوسف نبيل، مصور عالمي مصري. والفوتو سيشن هذا يعني حتى هنا بالCD كان معه، ولليوم الفوتو سيشن في تشوفه بالارت جاليريز. فبس الحلقة يعني خلينا نشوف. So back in 2006, I was tired of mainstream Arabic music. I was trying to find something new. I was 14 years old. And then, you know, LBC, the Lebanese channel?
Yeah.
They were having this segment about you and about your life, about, you know, being born in Belgium and going all these places. I was fascinated. I never hear stories like these about our local artists and musicians. And I was intrigued. They were playing this Mish Fadiyalak song and I recognized it from my childhood. And I started going into the internet, and a whole new world, visually, musically. And it feels like a full circle moment because we are today in 2026, exactly 20 years ago. So, and Natasha Atlas in front of me today. You know, globalization. How this is something I've never imagined that would happen. So I want to start from early on, from as early as being born in Belgium. So there was always this ambiguity about your origins. I feel like you suffered early on in your career about this question. And then there was this documentary about you, and you spoke about, you know, being born in Belgium to an English mother and a father of Egyptian descent in Belgium, and then moving to Sussex when you were 7 years old. So how was your early days in Brussels?
Well, my parents met in Belgium, and but we moved around quite a bit. So they wanted to come to Sussex because at the time it was a place that had a lot of different things going on. They were hippies, really.
Yeah, they were discovering religions, and
yes, they were into, you know, they looked at Sufism, they looked at Gurdjieff. My father liked Taoism. My mother, she liked all kinds of different philosophies. She was into Krishnamurti and Yogananda and all these Indian philosophers, as well as the Sufism and the Taoism and Gurdjieff. They Sussex is where there was an association that was kind of giving a lot of conferences, and they practiced techniques with Gurdjieff, because he did blend Sufism with they called it the fourth way, and it was very spiritual. And I was sent to
boarding school.
A boarding school, which was a Rudolf Steiner school, but Rudolf Steiner was a mystic Rosicrucian. So, and the mystical side of the Rosicrucian, I wouldn't say religion; it's more of a philosophy, really. Has taken a lot of ideas from different things. Like there are some Rosicrucian mystic scholars who say
that taught in the school?
I think it was sort of the essence of the spirituality was there in certain forms. Like they had a sort of a kind of meditational dance movement called eurythmy that encompassed some of that somehow. But it also there's reincarnation is very much part of that. But with the Rosicrucian thing, apparently that came from Dorzi, because you know the Dorzis have that,
roots,
so they have those roots, and some of the ideas from Rosicrucian, the Rosicrucian theories are based in different. Have come from different ideas and different philosophies, like the Dorzi thing and some other elements from Sikhism, but some of the very more esoteric and sort of less known philosophies of those things. So I think some of that did influence me, but maybe subliminally, because I look at those spiritual sides. I think I'm still just really
still trying to discover these things.
Yeah. So
it's a non-ending journey.
Yeah. I think if you're spiritual but you're not into one dogmatic religion, then you're a seeker. Yeah.
But like a kid of that age and being exposed
to these ideas. That's that's unusual for a kid. How was it overwhelming for you?
Well, for me, I guess it just seemed normal. But yes, at that time, I think it was fairly unique. In this day and age, it's not so unique. I think because there are more.
You have access to information today. You have.
There's access via the internet, but also I think there are more mixed marriages, and so children of mixed marriages seem to be more open to
new ideas.
Yeah. So for me at that age, I think it just seemed fairly normal.
How was your experience at school? Did you feel alienated, or did you feel?
A side of me did actually, but that school was fairly cosmopolitan. I remember people from the Middle East, but there weren't many. There was maybe a couple, but then there were. It was cosmopolitan in the sense that there were French children there. There were Danish. There were people from all Venezuela. So it was a unique school in that sense that it was quite cosmopolitan. We didn't have a uniform, and I was there for.
You're expressing yourself with your clothes.
Yeah, and also they did really focus on the arts a lot. Painting and movement and poetry. It was all very, very important part. So I didn't really learn much about maths because they weren't very strict about sort of
sciences.
I guess you could say that the ethics or the important part of that school and that teaching was to allow the child to express himself or herself in whatever way.
This was in the 70s. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I mean it. I think that school. There was a feeling of the teachers wanting to encourage the child at what it's good at what they're good at, without forcing it to be scientific if he or
that's
she.
That's not something they want.
Yeah, but later on, that school lost its way a little bit because it became very it became very, very large, and also had a lot of celebrities. Children went there, and so I think that it kind of became very superficial after a while. But when I was 7, I think it
had its essence.
Yeah. And
do you have siblings? So
yes.
If you had any.
Yeah. I have a brother and sister. From
I read that somewhere, but I wasn't sure if it's true.
Yeah.
I've never heard you speaking about them. I don't know. Maybe
well, I didn't grow because I was the only one who went to the boarding school. So I didn't grow up with them. Or I wasn't there with them all the time. We saw each other.
But they are from same dad and
yes,
mom.
but my brother, when I went to boarding school, he went because my parents separated after a few years, and then my brother went to live with my father, and my sister stayed with my mother, and that was in Northampton, and I stayed in Sussex at the boarding school. So we weren't in the same town. So
today, who is close to you?
I see my sister probably more than I do my brother, because she's still in England, and I try to come to England as much as possible.
Did they choose also creative paths, or are they totally different?
No, they're totally different. My sister is. She's a teacher, and she's now retraining to teach children because she was teaching adults. Yeah.
So as a teen, you wanted to go to drama. school?
Yeah.
There was that.
You must
There
have
was a phase.
You've done your research. Yeah, I think I wanted to be an actress before I got into music. And at school, at the Steiner School, I was pretty good at that, apparently. I mean,
You did school plays.
yeah, I did a lot of school plays, yeah. And not that much singing, really. It was more about...
Well, you did Shakespeare, things like that? Or
Yes.
yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I think my favourite part was I played Hermia in Midsummer Night's Dream. And my mother said I was very good. So anyway, but I once I'd left the Steiner School, I somehow just took a different path, and
You got suspended?
I got suspended. Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, I was a bit of a rebel, and
Of course.
yeah, and because although I was at a school that was fairly liberal, my parents, they really were kind of hippies, and most of the kids there, their parents weren't really hippies, and so I kind of I was a little bit disobedient, and so the mansion that we lived in, the front of it was being repaired. So there was some scaffolding outside. And so the kids had a habit of climbing in at midnight because the boys and the girls' dormitories were not together, but
Separated.
So we all planned to.
So you studied together, but
we had different living quarters, but in the same mansion, and the mansion was pretty big. So we would climb out of the scaffolding down this big mansion, and the grounds were huge, and we would go to the valley field and where there was a lake and make fires and just have a little party and everything. And
so this is when the boys and girls mix.
Yeah, but
rebel.
Yeah, but nothing. There was nothing sort of. Nothing naughty really going on.
Yeah.
Just kind of
innocent.
It was pretty innocent as far as I could see. But I was always the smallest girl in my class because I was just very underdeveloped for my age. So everyone, when all my friends were, my class mates were 14, I looked like I was 10. And so it took me longer as well to climb up the scaffolding because I was
so they
smaller
caught
than
you.
So they caught me. Everyone else was inside and I got caught. And so I was suspended. Yeah.
How did that affect you?
It felt quite unjust, really. And I think that it probably influenced me to be even more rebellious because somehow I felt that there was a lot to learn about justice and injustice and what was true and what wasn't.
Right.
And so I didn't go back to school after that. I then went traveling and
Greece and Turkey.
Yes,
right?
That's right. Yeah, and kind of learned to sing and dance.
Tell me about that.
Well,
you traveled with friends.
Yes, I traveled with friends.
It happened spontaneously without.
Yeah, it was
planning or.
No, there wasn't much planning involved. It was like by that time I was 16, and. But a few of the friends that I was traveling with were older. They were about 18, 20, so they could drive, and so we'd planned to go in a van, and we drove through Yugoslavia at the time.
And you didn't even fly. No. You did it all in a
a
caravan, or a van?
Kind of a transit van that was turned into a caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your mom was okay with that?
Well, again, she was a hippie, so she was like, I think it's good if you go and learn about the world and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my father was not so all right about it, but by that time they were divorced, so I didn't see my father too much. So we went to Greece and
Yugoslavia was at a stable state, or
yes, it was still stable at that time. Yeah.
That's before the separation.
Yeah.
And you ended up in Greece?
Yes, yeah. And I stayed there for probably about a
year.
You
had to sail. It's an island, right?
I went to a few different islands, and then I ended up in Crete. Yeah. But I went, but in that time I also visited Istanbul, so went back and forth a bit, and then I stayed in Crete. And
is that when you fell in love with belly dancing? Maybe.
Yeah, in Turkey, and I saw a lot of that, and
because you weren't exposed to much of that. I mean,
no, not in England. No,
Bollywood stuff.
Yeah. But the thing is, I knew about it. I knew about it from from what I'd seen and from what I knew about my ancestry and everything. And so, and for me, when I was in England, the Bollywood had something about it that was very similar. The way that they moved, the way that they danced, the music. There was a link. So it kind of satisfied my Oriental side, if you could say. The Eastern side was nourished by having Indian music in my life and Bollywood and all of that. And where I was in England, I didn't know many. There weren't many Arabic people, but there was an Egyptian family, so we were close.
Connected with them.
Yeah, I connected with them, and they also liked the Bollywood thing because there weren't any Arabic films, but there was
getting to you here. So how long did that trip take?
I think it was maybe a couple of years, and and then when
you had the money to.
No, in the end, I earned money by some of our friends would busk. We'd play music in the streets and with a chapeau and get money like that. And then I worked in a restaurant serving for a little bit. Yeah, and so and we camped a lot. Because in those, when you're somewhere like that, it's pretty much warm. And then in the winter parts, we would rent a communal sort of flat because there was about 6 of us.
When you remember those memories, do you remember them fondly or?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Even though it was a difficult time sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Some days were not the glam.
Not glam at all. But the thing is, I think when you're between the ages of 16 to 25, all of those experiences and are much easier on the senses, on the body, because you're young and
you have the resilience.
You have the resilience. You can. I remember sleeping in a tent. On the sand, with just a blanket on the beach in Crete. I think we lived like that. Me and a friend who was Norwegian. Her name was Freya, and we both lived in this tent and worked in a restaurant. And I think. 3 or 4 months we lived in this tent, and we had access to water and showers and stuff. And it was just, I didn't find it hard at all. I could not do it now. But, when you're young, you thrive on these new experiences and seeing new things and
adrenaline.
Yeah. It's just, Yeah.
So from 16 to 25, I think when you started doing those mixtapes and they got into the hands of Nation Records, how did you spend those years? Before you got the visibility?
Yeah. Well, by that time, we were doing little shows in little clubs, You
were moving a lot?
Yeah, we would sort of move around England doing little shows. And with Transglobal Underground through Nation Records. I was with another group first called Jar Wobble and Invaders of the Heart.
Yeah, this is when Nation Records got
right.
tape. You weren't even trying to get it to them.
No, it was someone else who gave it to them.
Do you remember that? Do you still have it? What kind of music did it have?
Well, it was kind of I guess it was there was a bit of electronics in there, so and it was sort of Spanish sounding with guitars, and then my voice over the top singing some Arabic words, some Spanish words.
You were singing it in Arabic.
Yes.
It was an original. It was an original.
Oh yeah. But it was kind of very improvised, And a lot of my stuff at that time was very, very improvised. And until I met Jar Wobble, but even then there was still room for that, because Jar Wobble was connected to Nation Records, and so Nation Records got the tape, and Aki from Nation Records, who was one of the directors of Nation Records, he played it to Jar Wobble, and he said, I'd really like her to come and try out for the band before a major tour that they were doing. And so it was kind of like an audition. So I went along and
were you nervous? Just going with the flow.
I think I was just going with the flow. I think I get more nervous now than I do.
Interesting.
Yeah. But again, I think it was because there was a side of me at that time that wasn't really as serious, So for me, it was just like, oh, let's just see what happens, And so and also because a lot of it was based on their music was very kind of dub. There was a sort of dub, sort of heavy beats, heavy bass, a lot of space, and then they would use samples like you'd hear the oud and the nay and things like that. And
Wobble songs?
Yeah, just floating in the background, but they were samples, so they were on tape. And they were mixed in with a lot of delay. And so he said, he'd just say, go out and sing. And he had a very London accent, very Cockney accent. And he said, just try anything. So I just, improvised.
And your vocals ended up on his record.
Yeah. And then I started touring with him and his band. We went all over Europe. And for me, it was the first time that I performed in Europe live, as a singer. And then we went to Hong Kong and Japan. And
wow.
Yeah. And
this is probably the first time you went out of this part of the world. And
yeah. It was amazing because Japan was just, I'd love to go back because that was probably 30 years ago. So I'd love to see it now. Because it was pretty sci-fi then, it was very different to Europe. It was much more advanced in a way, and with the buildings and yeah.
Was that the first time you took a plane?
No, because we'd flown around in Europe. So yeah,
so lots going on.
Yeah.
because in that same period you were also doing, you did that song, Timbal by Loka.
Oh yeah, Timbal. Yeah.
Timbal.
Yeah,
Timbal.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And was that your first music video? Also
Probably,
Nations Records.
Yes, I think that was probably the first release. Yeah. And then there was the Jar Wobble record, and then after that, so I toured with them for maybe a year, perhaps a year and a half, and then after that came to an end, and Nation Records wanted to introduce me to Transglobal Underground, who were like a collective.
Wait, before that, there was also Daniel Ash. How did that happen?
How did I? Yeah. Oh yes, because that was okay. So Bauhaus and Daniel Ash, I met them when I had come back from my travels in Turkey and Greece.
So this was before Jawabul.
So this is before Jawabul, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But at that time I was I had met them because they lived in Northampton, and a friend of mine said, you have to come and see this band. They're amazing.
And your mom was in Northampton.
Yes. Yeah. So, and they were from there. So there was Daniel Ash and Kevin Haskins and Peter Murphy and David J. And they were this band called Bauhaus, who were very enigmatic performers, very, very, it was, you could call it maybe sort of, it was post-punk, sort of gothic rock. And I was a fan of theirs. And then Daniel Ash was doing his solo album, and he knew that I was a sort of a debutante singer in the making. And so he said, why don't you come and do some backing vocals for me? And so I did that. And
even appeared on a music video with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And I was belly dancing a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So that, yes, I think that was around the time that just before I met Jar Wobble, or around the same time, a similar time.
How about Indian Apache?
Yes,
Indian
and
Apache.
then when I met
arranged marriage.
Yes, that's right. When I met Transglobal Underground, I'd started working for them, and we were doing gigs, and at that time, my performance was always like singing and sort of combining belly dance with singing.
Yeah.
And also, it was clear, I think, to a lot of Indian musicians that I had influence from India and Bollywood, because they could hear it and they could see it in my dance. So I was approached through Nation Records by Apache Indian to appear on as a guest artist on his single, and it got into the charts. And yes, and I
top of the pop,
I was on top of the pops. Yeah. And I remember that it was just it felt like a breakthrough for us, because sort of as Asian people or Arabic people or people who aren't English, who were getting into,
they don't get there.
No, they didn't get there. And so Apache Indian was probably one of the first, if not the first, Asian origin artists to appear on Top of the Pops with some Indian melodies, and then me singing some arabesque vocals with I think I did sing Habibi or something. I was probably the first person to sing an Arabic word on Top of the Pops.
Do you remember that day going to their studio? And
yeah, a little bit of it. I mean, not so much, but I remember that it was just very exciting. And that I remember that, because I was wearing a sort of an outfit that my mother had made me, which was sort of partly Indian, partly Arabic. And I remember meeting Paul McCartney from the Beatles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he'd watched the rehearsal, and then what happens is that after you finish being recorded and you're doing rehearsal, and then they do the filming, and then afterwards you can stay near the audience but out of sight. And some of the other musicians will see the next act. And Paul McCartney had been watching us, and of course he liked Indian music. But then he said to me, "Oh," he says, "you're not Indian though, are you? You're something else." And I said, "Well, I'm kind of mixed." And he goes, "I thought so." And I said, "But a more sort of Middle Eastern mix." And he said, "I see." He said, "How lovely." He was very sweet. And
By the way, it's rare for a white person to make this distinction.
I think that
distinction.
I think because he had through their time with Ravi Shankar and I think they got to know Indian music quite well.
Got exposed to it, during that era.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Transglobal, that underground, that was that was something.
That was definitely something. That I remember was, again, felt like a breakthrough because, you know, the whole idea was to really, to explore, but with no restrictions, you know, mixing up Indian, Arabic, African, hip hop, funk. You know, they wanted to just mix everything up. And I remember when a lot of the first shows in London, people were just stunned, you know, they were like, "What is this?" You know, we were like something very different. And and I remember just feeling very excited about it because, you know, we were all pretty young and excited about what we were doing.
There was one of the music videos to be featured on MTV. I think, was it International Times? Or
it's probably from International Times,
Yeah. And then I want to jump to your solo career because... So how did you make the decision to go solo?
Well...
And you had all the Transglobal Underground people supporting you in your project.
In fact, I think, if anything, it was probably their idea. I mean, I was happy in Transglobal Underground, and I liked the fact that there was Toop, who is actually featured on Sumud.
Which is a new song from your new album.
Yeah. And he was a beat poet who's originally not Jamaican, but from I think from Guyana, but his parents came here from the Caribbean, and but he's always been a sort of like a beat poet that sort of plays congas, and he's very enigmatic performer, and he used to like to wear. He used to look like an African prince. And one day he'd come with a turban with jewels in it and a big gold earring. You know, he looked amazing. And then the next day he'd look like a hip hop rapper. And you know, he was real fun to be with. And then there was an Indian tabla player called Inder. He called himself Inder Goldfinger, and so he would be playing tablas. And then there's also Shima Mukherjee, who's a sitar player, and so
you met later with Shima.
She came much later. Yeah, but it was so much fun. It was and I did actually learn a lot from that. But during that time, the main members, Transglobal members, which was
Hamid Mantou.
Yeah, Hamid Mantou. Tim Whelan and Nick Page, who's half Greek, who also really loves the Arabic side because of his Greek side. But they wanted to encourage me to do a solo album, and I was like, wow. And they said, "Yeah, look, we'll help you."
Overwhelming, right? Yeah. And they said, "We'll help you, you know, and then you can really focus more on the
the Middle Eastern side and the Arabic side, because Transglobal liked to be very much using African and Indian all together, everything all together, you know. So they said, let's do your solo album where it's really more about your roots and your expression. So that's how it started. And then Diaspora was the first album.
Before the album, there was a single, Dab Ya Leel.
Yeah. Actually,
which is included on the album. But
yeah. But Dab Ya Leel, there was a different version of that, which was kind of electronic with a lot of samples and sound design. And actually that was with the drummer from Bauhaus, Kevin Haskins, who's been a long-time friend of mine and a friend of Sammy's. Because
to this day.
To this day, yes. And but he did the first version of Dab Ya Leel with me. Yeah. And then after that, Diaspora was made. And then there was the second version of that. I was on tour in America, and some young Arab guys, they'd been at the concert, and they came up to me and they said, "Thank you so much." And I found them very progressive. I think they were Palestinian, and they were really encouraging. They were like, "It's so amazing that you do. Keep doing that." And I was like, wow.
That's in the mid-90s.
Yeah. And I found that really progressive of them because obviously, there was also some pushback at that time, especially a female doing that and doing it, in a theatre or a nightclub, So, yeah, that was my punk side, my rebellious side. But also because I just think that, for me, I've always had a spiritual side, and I like to express that through art. I think it's valid.
I actually have Diaspora with me. It's actually a Japanese version.
Oh, wow.
And it had extra tracks, kulchi or something, like you see. The thing they put.
Oh, yeah.
Japanese versions, like.
No. So there's something.
Weird. Yeah, and it's 2 CDs.
Oh, wow.
It's a small CD here.
Oh, right.
Do you remember this? No?
I never got the Japanese version.
There was something you were doing in each album. I don't know if it was intentional. You were singing about a different location or a city. Here you had Al-Iskandariya.
Oh, right.
And then you had on Halim, you had Gafsa, which is in Tunisia.
Yes.
You had on Gedida, you had Aqaba.
Yeah.
In Jordan.
Oh, how weird.
Ayishtini Shubra. Was this a coincidence or was it intentional?
It was not intentional. It must have been subliminal. It was maybe a theme for some reason. Perhaps it's just part of a nomadic theme, but no, it wasn't intentional.
Because your dad is from Iskandariya. I assume this is why you had a song about Iskandariya.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something that for me is just part of the nomadic kind of thing, and that's in my roots somewhere. And perhaps it is a reference to that, but maybe subconsciously.
You had Lesh Natarak and Yalla Chant were the singles from which do you remember which one came out first? I think Yalla Chant.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
and it's using sample from a song Habibi Ya Aini, right?
Yes, is it Maya Yazbek?
Maya Yazbek, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think as a child, I discovered yours first. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And then I listened to the original. But you mix it in a beautiful way. Like it's.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Why did you pick that sample?
I guess because it was one of my favorite songs at the time. Well, from a few years earlier, but I really in my early years, it was really, really important to me to try and introduce this Arabic music and Arabic sounds and voices and melodies to Western people, to European people, because it was so unknown at the time in the 90s. There started to be more of an appeal for that later, because girls and women that would come and see the shows, they'd see the belly dancing, and then they'd want to go and learn to belly dance. And then there was a sort of a fashion for belly dancing lessons, and then there were belly dance teachers who would use my music, and also, you know, Arabic music, you know. So then there were more people, European people, coming to explore,
being exposed to that. For the first time in the crossover. The
crossover, yeah.
There was a rapper even in this song.
Yes,
Yeah.
that another thing I wanted to do was I was always trying to to move Arabic music forward, because I felt, of course, I have a massive respect for Arabic music, classical and pop, and it's a deep love of mine, and the language. There's nothing more poetic for me than that Arabic language. But I also felt that it would be great if young artists could be liberated from some of the
rigid rules.
The rigid rules, and break out. And I remember that in 98, when I rapped on
Bastard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was political. Yeah.
Oh my God. This song, it's very timeless, by the way.
Yes, I know. I kind of know that, but I think I was probably the first female Arabic rapper to you know, in 98 or whenever it was, to do that. But it's not that I really had a talent for rapping, but what it was is that I wanted to show young artists or young
what they can do.
What they can do, and it's now we see that there are a lot of Arabic hip hop rappers, and so I'm so glad to see what's happening.
Since we're on the topic, I have an album that I don't know if you remember, but to me it's a symbol of something, and you know why? Jذوره. Do you know why? So you had Jadida was the original album, and they removed 3 tracks from Jadida in the Middle East, and this is what we got. Jذوره.
Really?
You don't know that?
I'd heard that I'd been censored, and
so Bastard wasn't on this.
Right.
The Righteous Path, for some reason, even though this song is, and then Mahlabiya.
yeah. Which I remember when you know, much later I did actually hear that they'd been playing it in Agami in some of their DJ in Egypt on the beach, you know.
Mahlabiya?
Yeah. But much later. But when it first came out, no, because like you say, it was censored. And then because I remember asking a few friends of mine in Egypt if it had been censored, and they said no. But I think that it was because a few years later, I don't know how many years later, it was played in certain clubs, but not everywhere. So, you know, I heard mixed reports, so I never really knew the truth of it.
On Bastard, you were saying things that you would never hear someone in the Arab world saying. It's very progressive. How do you remember writing the song?
Yeah. It was just I really, for me, it was all about trying to get people to ask as many questions as about everything, about religion, about the politics, and how the religion and politics are intertwined. And I just wanted people who, especially in places like in the Middle East, who just, you know, I know that there are people, even back then, that did question, but they were afraid to question. So I guess for me, it was just about trying to influence people to question.
During that era, you were playing this song, and there was Hakim. Hakim, of course, he's today I can say he's a legendary artist from Egypt.
Yeah,
he was sort of shadowing, or do you remember what was happening here?
Well, I
He
because
was like watching backstage, and
Yeah.
you can see him on
on
camera.
Yeah. I think probably because of had a bit of a reputation for being outspoken and stuff. So people were curious. Artists were curious about me, and I met him, and I think actually much later on, Transglobal actually produced a few things
Songs for him. Yeah.
And we did I remember doing a couple of shows where Transglobal and myself, we supported him. We did the first act, and then he, so that was a good experience.
Yeah. We skipped Halim. You had, I think Amulet was one of the very first hits in the Middle East from you.
Yeah.
It was played a lot, and I think you even you were guest in some. I think Mr. Lebanon or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Lebanon.
I think it was Mr. Lebanon actually.
Yeah.
I did a couple of TV shows. I remember there, and
you started being invited at that time.
Yeah. Which was
Did
really...
you have some contract with LBC or something? Because most of your appearances were on LBC.
Well, it was always through a European agent, so I don't know if it was just one contract with only them, or I'm not sure.
Pepsi Musica. It's like our top of the pops. Sort of show. We were talking about having a show in Beirut, and
yes,
you actually did those appearances before.
Yes.
So,
So it will be nice to go back. Yeah.
How do you find Lebanon?
Well,
actually, your earliest memories were with Fayrouz. So.
So I mean, I haven't been there now for probably over 15 years. So I don't know what it's like. I mean, I've since worked with
Ibrahim Malouf from Lebanon.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Zaid Hamdan, who's become a friend because last year he was asked to sort of arrange and create an Kulthum homage show because in France they wanted to celebrate 60 years or 50 years of since her the anniversary of her death, and so a few different groups did some Kulthum homage shows, and I did it with Zaid Hamdan and Mariam Saleh and a few other singers as well.
Nice.
And I had to learn 2 Kulthum songs. Alf Layla wa Layla was one of them.
It's very difficult.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then Nami Ya Malaki, which was one from a film. So it's from 2 very different eras, which for me, I really liked. It was amazing. So I worked with Zaid, who's from
Lebanon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jadida. I feel like this was one of your peaks. The album coming out in 1999, and Mon Ami Laos. How did that happen? Why did you pick that song? How I think Transglobal touches with the you know that part. That is iconic. It's
Yeah. That
the beat.
that was probably Tim and Hammy's ideas, because they took
Hamid.
yeah
His real name is Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah. But he had the name Hamid Mantou for a stage name.
Why did he pick Hamid?
Well,
and he doesn't even have Arabic origin.
No, but he was in a group with Tim Whelan. I can't remember what the name of the group is. But it was before I knew them. They had a group, but it was a rock group, an English rock group. And somehow they did a very short tour in Egypt, in some of the major towns.
Yeah.
And they were in a big a bus that was hired to take them round, and it was one driver, and he was always playing Kulthum and Fayrouz and Farid Al-Atrash and all these kind of artists.
Old school.
Yeah, old school. And they were just English rock musicians. And they were like always hearing this music, and they were fascinated by it. They were just English rock musicians. And in fact, they were called Furniture, as they were called in Egypt. Furniture. And and they fell in love with Arabic music through listening to Kulthum and the old greats. And so they brought back loads and loads and loads of cassettes, because it was cassettes at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when they went, it was probably the early 80s or something like that. And so they brought back hundreds, a suitcase of cassettes of Arabic music. And so they had loads of material to take ideas and samples and stuff like that. Anyway, so when we were writing Gedida, the label in France was saying, would you consider doing something in French? And so we were thinking about it, and Tim had loved a lot of French music from the 60s, like Serge Gainsbourg and François Hardy and Jacques Brel and all this. So
François is the original.
Yes, and artist. It was my mother's favorite French song. Was Mon Ami la Rose. And she said she loved the words because it reminded her of Arabic poetry. And the melody had something slightly Eastern about it. And so, and I listened to that song, and I was like, and I said to Tim, shall we try doing this? Because I really liked it. I liked the words and the melody. And I felt that somewhere we could make a kind of, more Eastern version with the melody rhythm and, and that flavor. And so we did this demo, and Tim and Hammy put these little ideas in, like ding, 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 that.
Amazing.
And I remember hearing the demo, and I thought, I don't know, that's something, it's like...
mind-blowing.
Yeah. You know that it's going to work somehow.
You felt it. You felt that this is going to be... It was top 20 in France. Yeah. That's something I don't think any Arabic artist did at the time. And it had Arabic words in it. Yeah. The end, which I love.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about that era as well is that the singles had two, like Mistanique and Mon Ami la Rose. Also, one brief moment. There was a story. You were in the car changing and then going to a club where you were singing Mon Ami la Rose. The idea is great.
Yeah.
How did you?
Well, it was kind of autobiographical in a way. I mean,
like your story.
Yeah.
Yeah. You change the taxi.
I know the director and who was a woman who you
You collaborated on
Yeah.
many of your videos.
Yeah. And she was a woman, and we spoke about it, and then she sort of said, "Oh, maybe we could do something that reflects your life." And I said, "Well, it could be something like, I'm on my way to do a show," and then she said, "Well, would you be okay what about if you're late, and so you're getting ready in the car?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And she goes, "No, we won't be showing anything naughty,
Nudity,
really.
yeah.
It'll be a little bit sensual, maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah." So, and then the taxi driver's looking, and then so it was quite saucy, really. But yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I want to talk about the year 2000, how you opened that year and that Millennium concert in Egypt. That was a thing. And before that, you did the song C'est la vie with Jean-Michel Jarre.
Yeah.
And how did that happen?
Well, he had come to one of my shows in Paris. In fact, I think he came the same night that Françoise Hardy came to see me.
Oh, she heard you singing her song.
Yeah, she said she preferred my version to hers.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, well, it's just different, and she was a very, very nice lady. And Jean-Michel Jarre came as well. And he wanted to talk about doing this single where, C'est la vie, because he was very fond of Arabic music and the culture, and especially Egypt. And then later he was planning to do a show at the pyramids for the millennium.
Yeah.
And it took something like 3 or 4 months organization.
Wow.
It was a lot to do because that
was the most talked about event of during that time.
Yeah. I mean, I think the stage was the biggest stage that I've ever performed on. And also backstage, there was at least 2,000 people working backstage. It was an enormous production.
Like ants.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, it had to be very well planned. And the only thing that they couldn't really control was the weather, because the pyramids, all the projections that Jean-Michel
for the show. The lasers.
Yeah, all the lasers. You could see them in all the rehearsals, which was, there was, a couple of months of rehearsals.
It was foggy a little bit.
Yeah, there was this mist that descended, but it was a mist that it was a very, very strange mist, because it's almost like you could see all the particles of this mist moving. And also there must have been something like 80,000 people there. It was massive. And there was a very, I remember after I'd done my performance on stage, and then I came down and I was with some friends, and we went into the audience to see, because we were quite near the front. And there was this really amazing energy that penetrated my cells. I felt like I was high, and I there was no alcohol.
Naturally high.
Yes, naturally high. It was really, everything was so crystal clear, and it felt very, very like a utopia. It was an amazing feeling. And I said to my friend, I said, "Did you put something in my drink?" And he said, No, nothing. And I said, "Are you feeling this energy? It's like, it's electric." And he said, "Yes, I'm feeling the same thing. And it's like I can see clearly, and I can see the particles in the mist and the atoms." And it's just, I said, "It's so strange." Yeah. And it's one of the memories I have of that night.
Is this when you took the decision to stay around a year in Egypt?
Yeah, well, I think I was there
Or
a couple of years before, but then, but after that, I was, I was coming and going for quite a while during the mid-90s and until about 2005. So, and sometimes I'd stay a year, and sometimes I'd stay 6 months, and then go back and do some shows, and then come back to Egypt and stay the winter of 3 months or something.
When you made عيشتني during that year.
Yes, I was there, yeah.
And maybe for the first time you were working with people from Egypt.
Yes.
You did that iconic photo shoot with Yusuf Nabil.
Yes, Yusuf, yeah, he's a good friend.
How did he approach you? I feel he has this unique way of approaching people and convincing them to do the photo shoots.
Yeah.
He probably saw you on the concert.
I think he was there.
Yeah.
But I didn't meet him there. I had a friend, I think we had a friend in common, Lulya, her name is, and she was having a party, and she said to me, you must come and meet some friends. And Yusuf Nabil was there, but I think also that's where I met Christian Louboutin. I met him. Yeah.
He mentioned you once as somebody he enjoys music from.
Yeah. We did, Sammy and I did the music to his 2022 fashion show.
True. I saw that. I was so proud.
It was great. Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure I met them both there.
Okay.
And for the first time. And Yusuf and I got chatting, and I found him to be really extraordinary because he had very, very eclectic tastes, and he loved Arabic pop music, but he also knew groups that I didn't think that he would have known. Like he would talk about Velvet Underground and David Bowie, and David Bowie was more normal, but Velvet Underground and some other artists, Nico and artists
very
from that
sort of niche
very niche for an Egyptian guy, and he was very artistic, and he said, I really want, and he told me he was a photographer, and that he really wanted to do a shoot with me. And I'd seen some of his work because he showed me, and I was like, wow, this is... He
paints them himself.
Yeah. And I loved that because it was very, all the pictures I'd seen of the people he'd photographed, it was very, very flattering. And he put so much care and attention into it. And he has a great aesthetic, and he has an eye for beauty and for art, and he's really talented, and also I loved his sense of humor. He could really get down with a sort of
dark. Is it?
Well,
sarcastic?
Actually, more kind of. He could, because I like sometimes to get very silly, and he could just get very, very silly, and there's a dark side, but actually he's very vivacious and funny and lighthearted too, which I like.
You kept on using his photographs in a number of albums.
Because
the best of.
Well, I
of
loved.
Course, عيشتني.
Yeah. I loved how he photographed me, and the results, and how he would treat them afterwards, and
I see so many names on عيشتني of people that today in Arabic pop music they became very well known. You worked with Fahad, the arranger. He was working with Mecca Sabit. Who's also, I think he has some English roots or something.
That's right. He's half English too.
Do you remember working with Fahad in particular?
Yes. Yeah, him and Mika. Yeah. It was great stuff, and I really enjoyed being there and being in that environment with them. And Fahad's he's amazing. And Mika for me was unique as well, because he, again, this sort of Anglo-Egyptian thing that I kind of, feel at home with. And, and Mika became a good friend, too. So.
And also I see Hani Farahat, he where he is today.
No.
And this was his one of his early work with you. Today he's, you can see him in the biggest concerts as a conductor.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you remember working with Hani?
Yeah. But I didn't imagine that he would be doing that now, because I haven't seen any of them for quite a long time.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get to Egypt this year. Yeah. I miss it so much. So yeah. And I hope to meet up with them as well. But it's been a long time.
And then from Aish Sini you went to Something Dangerous, and it's something. It's so different. Like you don't imagine somebody who did Aish Sini to go to something like Something Dangerous. I think it was a request from Mantra recordings at the time to do something with Western flavor and with more
and different producers. I think it was one of those ideas that can sometimes it can work, or sometimes it can be a little bit difficult for the whole idea to gel. And I think with that album, it's very possible that there were perhaps too many producers for there to be a real.
You worked with Zeromania. You know Zeromania? The music production group.
Yeah. Were they on the album?
Yeah.
Oh, which track?
Do you remember Who's My Baby?
Yeah.
She actually, you performed with somebody from that group.
Yes. Yeah. That I remember so the production company, they for that track, they were based in Kent, and it was like a sort of
that's the group I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were a collective that had you'd go to this very, very big house, and each room there was a different a singer, a writer, artist who would be
like a production house.
It was a production house. It was a production house.
Those people work with people like Kylie Minogue, like Girls Aloud, those
that's
Western
right,
pop mainstream people. Yeah.
So so I was in one room with a couple of girls who were, and they were like, wow, this is, for them it was very, very different. It was very new. Yeah.
I think her name was Niara.
Yes.
Scarlett.
Yeah, that's right. Niara. Yeah.
And about something about Who's My Baby, it's the lyrics are kind of sampling Min Habibi Ana, which is a song by Nawal al-Zughbi and Wael Kapoori.
Yeah.
And then there is part, what was it, from Abdul Halim?
Yes.
Tani.
Yeah. It was a bit of
and you did it.
cocktail.
The melody is different from. But I love it. How were you listening to those songs when you?
I had heard those songs. Yeah, I was listening to those songs when when I was
making that album.
Yeah. And so they'd sort of come in and out of my sort of sphere
subconscious.
Yeah. And again, it was, for me, it was always like trying to introduce through sort of, I'd sing something to these girls. I'd be like, oh, how does this music sound? Because they'd, never heard any of it. So I'd start singing little bits of things from other things, and they go, oh, that's amazing. Keep that. Oh, record that. And so, and they wanted to incorporate all of it, and I was like, well, we have to find a way for it to fit in.
To blend with the song.
Yeah.
But that era of Arabic pop music, since Popcast, I'm focusing more on Arabic pop. So do you remember, I saw an interview of you, and you were talking about people like Amr Diab, Samira Saeed.
Yeah.
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 Was that
Nانسي
were they-
Nánسí عجرم. I mean, I loved
Nánسy?
Yeah,
Really?
but actually, it was Yusuf
Yeah.
Nabil that introduced me to Nánسí عجرم. He said, "You've got to listen to her, and you've got to see her on the video because she looks to me. She reminds me of you because she's wearing all the belly dresses and this kind of
Yeah.
thing, and she's
Very
it's like your
Egyptian.
style.
Yeah.
You know." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "You have to go and see the video. See the video." And so I was like, wow. And I kind of fell in love with her because she's so so bubbly. She's bubbly and alive and electric and so joyful, you know. Yeah.
And who else from I don't know if them that era or today.
Asala, you know, I loved Asala. She's an amazing singer. Najwa Karam, so many of them, Nawal Zorbi, you know.
Did they actually have any inspiration when you're working, or is most of your inspiration more from older stuff?
Well, I think that it all creeps in somehow.
Yeah,
but,
it's like
you know,
blending everything.
yeah. There's a pool of influences. I mean, I'm obviously if you you know, as a young teen listening to Abdul Halim Hafez and Fayrouz and that, obviously where I was in England, I didn't have a lot of access because we didn't have internet back then, but I had these Egyptian friends and Egyptian family that were in the town that I lived in, and they passed me loads of cassettes, and so then I was listening
learn
to
more about it.
And then later on, obviously Nánسí عجرم and all of those contemporary singers, you could always hear even in that Arabic pop there was always a link to the past in what they did, especially because, as we spoke earlier, you know, you couldn't really sing about politics and stuff like that. There was always a romantic theme, and that was
true.
a thread, you know.
Yeah. Since we spoke about your dreams of drama before, there was actually a movie that, to me, it's a feel-good movie. I love it. And you actually were a big part of that movie, Whatever Lola Wants.
Oh, yeah.
And you were supposed to do the role of Carmen Lubus, the one who teaches belly dancing to the American girl.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie?
I have, yeah. And the lady that played that part was much better suited than me.
The Beninese Carmen.
Yeah.
She's a big actress.
Yeah, she was amazing in that. I think she was really well suited to that part.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be involved musically, you know, to
Whatever Lola Wants.
Yeah. And also
on the soundtrack, I can hear her voice in it.
Yeah. We did some of the club music as well, the Arabic nightclub music. We did some of that too. So it was nice.
Yeah. Why did you decide not to do it?
Well, I did try to. I took some acting classes, and then I did.
So you almost did it.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of the director. Nabil said he wanted me to try for it, and I was quite nervous about it because
he's Moroccan. He's Moroccan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nabil Ayouch.
And you were nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous because I to be honest, I thought that the part was very demanding, and so I tried for it, and I didn't feel like I could really that it would. I just didn't really. I think that Nabil liked what I'd done, but then it went to a board, a committee board, and they were like, I'm not sure. Maybe they felt that I wasn't feeling 100% sure that I was right for that part.
Sometimes people sense the energy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
didn't align maybe.
I think I wasn't ready for that, you know.
I want to wrap up, but maybe something, I feel like I covered the amazing parts. There is a part of your career which is singing for soundtracks, since we're on the topic. The Hulk, Kingdom of Heaven. There's so many people who don't know. Actually, the music from that movie that you actually, there is a version of it which you sing over the instrumental. Yeah. And it's very popular.
Yes,
in the Arab world.
I know, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You worked with David Arnold.
Yeah.
You Only Live Twice for, I think, for James Bond.
Yes, yeah. So, some James Bond films. I did some incidental singing on it. I've always loved working, doing sort of music for film. Sammy and I have composed for...
Sami Bishai, of course.
Yeah, Sami Bishai. We've worked for composing music for contemporary dance, but we'd also like to do that for film, because it's one of those things that it's great to see visually and compose music that goes with visual for film, because it's a different medium, but it's very expressive and we've
you
really
even did
connected with it.
Something for Hanan Turk movie with Mohammed Munir. I don't know if you remember that, back in 2005. One of her last movies before she wore hijab. Yeah. Dunya, I think. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I have vague memories of it.
Yeah. I mean, you did a lot.
Yeah.
It's such a big career. Any last word?
Thank you for having me, and thank you for knowing so much about me and being so supportive. It's really very touching.
Thank you for the way you were very professional with, and Jenny, your assistant.
Yes, my sister.
Everything was so smooth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think my 14-year-old, if he knows about this,
in the parallel universe.
In the parallel universe.
Yeah.
تدري كيف صارت الحلقة؟ يعني فنانة مثل نتاشا بالتاريخ الطويل اللي مرت فيه، ومع هذا كانت قمة البروفيشنال والحرفية. يعني كتبت لها مسج في انستغرام كدايركت مسج، وقعد المسج بالدي ام يمكن شهرين، وكان في تعبير طويل. يعني كلمتها كثير عن الامباكت اللي سوته لي كمراهق، وكانت بفترة المراهقة كانت فترة اكتشاف بالنسبة لي، استكشاف الفنانين وكذا، وأنا عبرت عن كل شيء. بعدين فجأة دخلت موقع نتاشا، وشفت فيه تتذكر الفورمز اللي اتصل بنا، وما أدري ليش قلت بجرب الفورم، مع أني أحس أنه ما حد يشيك، ما حد يشوف الإيميلات هذه، كلها تروح جنك. توقعت فجأة يوصلني إيميل من الأسيستنت تقول لي نتاشا شيكت على الدي ام ومبسطة على المسج، وراحت تبي تسوي الحلقة. وشافوا يعني هي ومع سامي هو البروديوسر اللي اشتغلت معاه من سنة 2010 بالألبوم هذا.
اخذين اوتوغراف كمان.
اوتوغراف. انا التقيت نتاشا بال2010 في حفلة في نيويورك، وتكلمت عن الموضوع بالحلقة، يعني الناس سمعوها الحين. فهذا كان أول ألبوم مع البروديوسر سامي بشاي. هو برضو مصري وعنده جذور، يعني ميكس مصري إنجليزي. فالاثنين كانوا مرحبين بالفكرة، ولقوا وقت في جدولهم خلال فترة تورينج وحفلات بالضبط، كان فتس السكاجول، وصارت الحلقة بشكل سموذ ما تتخيل. صورنا حلقتين، الحلقة الثانية راح تنزل مع الألبوم، إنهم عملوا ألبوم جديد، فكبروموشن للألبوم قررنا نكون في حلقة ثانية.
خلصنا هنا النهارده صح؟ خلصنا؟
نعم. يس.
طب احنا هنروح ناكل فيش اند شيبس ولا ايه؟ يلا انا جعان.
فيش اند شيبس. ما شاء الله عليك انت مطلع على الثقافة.
ايوه ما احنا هنا خلاص لندن، يلا بينا.
خلاص
يلا.